Welcome to our second session of the Year Center Hotspot. In this second session, we would like to give you a taste of our research and involvement into the relation between crafts and human health, both in ancient and past time. We really believe that experimental archaeology can play an important role in our understanding of human health in the past, but also to improve modern well-being today. We have a range of topics into our research and activity of experimental archaeology in relation to health, and they goes from investigating the inequality of labor division to addressing the way experimental archaeology and ancient craft can improve our modern well-being, even sometimes as a means of managing pain. Chronic pain, for example. There is nothing, I think, that I have come across that speaks more about the inequality of living condition experienced by ancient crafters than some wood models of ancient crafters at work that I have encountered in many museums that display wooden model and object from ancient Egyptian tombs. Here you see just two examples, but if you pay attention to this object, you will see that the really illustrative of the condition in which people worked in the past. And I would like to show you in particular this little model, this wood model of an ancient potter, because if you think that the living condition that were experienced by ancient craft are a thing of the past, you maybe want to think again. On the right picture, you see an example from the web of a pottery in India. So many of these ancient traditions are everything but a thing of the past. They are endangered actually in many areas of the world, and they are currently used as a way of poverty relief, and they can empower people and improve economies. So, for a fact, more than half of the people in the world today make a living from traditional craft that can have very ancient roots, and from the quality of the air, the very air that people breathe, to the posture they assume during the practicing of this extraordinary skill, they experience difficult living condition, and this extraordinary skill can have a great health impact in some situation. So we can say that our understanding through experimental archaeology of ancient craft can surely make a difference in our understanding of the impact of health through time. For what concerns ancient craft and human health in the past, our research into the inequality of labor division at the Year Center is focused in implementing our understanding of the living condition of the crafter through experimental archaeology, by recording the environment and understanding the environment in which these crafts were applied. But also we are conducting cutting-edge research into developing methodology that can help us to track the ancient force of the past, ancient workforce of the past, and to try to reconstruct their health experience. At the moment, it is extremely difficult to understand the impact that ancient craft and labor division had on the health through time, how they shape health through time, because it's very difficult to track ancient crafters from their skeletal remains. Although we observe several pathologies can indicate bad exposure to bad air quality, and we can observe dental wear on teeth that can be indicative of the use of mouth as a third end, there aren't actually very specific skeletal markers that allowed us to say we're dealing with an ancient craft and getting an understanding of what craft there was. We are developing research into a particular type of dust, the dust generated during crafting, and in recent years, a deposit on teeth called dental calculus, which is mineralized dental plaque, so basically is entombing particles of the environment around and diet. This deposit has shown potential to capture tiny particles from dusty craft, and we have recently retrieved evidence of the involvement of a woman in medieval manuscript illumination through tiny particles of the pigments from lapis lazuli that she used in her work. We also retrieve systematically evidence of fibers, for example flax and wool from dental calculus, that can really help to understand the dental wear, for example, in ancient people remains. So at the moment we're using experimental archaeology to characterize this invisible environment that surrounds craft and see if we can find methodology to retrieve this evidence into Dental Tartar. We have received funding from the Wellcome Trust for a project known A Taste of Hard Work, that is producing novel methodology into this line of evidence. The project is an international collaboration with core work at the University of York and the Stockholm Institute of Environment, and a collaboration with the British Museum. However, ancient health of the crafter is not the only focus in our research. We can definitely say that a growing body of evidence is showing a strong link between craft, art, and mental and physical well-being. And there has been an increased use of art and craft, for example, in the management of chronic pain. So we are trying to incorporate the health dimension into our work with an eye of what benefits can human health receive from the practicing of ancient skill and experimental archaeology today. We are achieving this through a combination of things: teaching and training, connecting with the community, and public engagement. For what concerns the teaching and training and the connecting with the community, I invite you to look at our poster that will follow shortly from this presentation, because my colleagues will tell you a little bit more about our work on this subject. If you think that there isn't space for experimental archaeology in modern human health in this subject, I would like to give you this example. So art and craft often looked at ancient craft and ancient object as an inspiration. And again, there is this strong link between art and well-being that has been proven. But this doesn't mean that there aren't research output that can be really wonderful and that can help us to actually understand the past when we use experimental archaeology in this field. And I would like to give you this example from the Silaska Heritage Institute in Alaska, because there two artists that took inspiration, spruce root work from ancient time, have recently rediscovered a lost waving technique, because they literally conducted what we can call experimental archaeology as inspiration of their work. We are incorporating the health perspective into teaching and outdoor living nearly every day, encouraging students to think of the health impact of the activity they are practicing, their exposure to smoke, for example, the posture they are using, but also encouraging outdoor learning, because that precious contact with nature that sometimes we experience during experimental archaeology can really improve modern well-being and mental well-being. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about and to flag in this contest is a completely new project of outreach that has been recently funded by the Wellcome Trust. This is called Ancient Dustbusters, which has its own website with a blog and a lot of open access resources and activity. This is the first project of its kind, aimed entirely to communicating to children the importance of air quality and environmental quality to human health. And we are trying to communicate to children to the inequality that comes with labor division. We are using a completely different way of approaching outreach, and instead of structuring this into a more formal learning and school learning, we are using incidental learning. So we are incorporating information related to air quality and human health into little games, storytelling activity, little experimental archaeology exercise that people of different age can do, but they're focused for children. So please feel free to keep up to date through this website, but also through the Ear Center blog and website, where we will keep people up to date on this. I am very grateful for your attention, and I would also like to tell you that we are developing a paper. We're in the process of putting together a paper that will be submitted to the Wellcome Trust Open Access publishing platform. So please keep an eye on our website, and we're grateful also to the Wellcome Trust because it funded our participation to this conference. Thank you.